Good afternoon. I wish I could be present to be part of the support and honor of Phil Wilson today, her birthday, but I'm doing the next best thing on this recording to share a few remembrances. I am Dyann Brown, one of Phil Wilson's two younger sisters. We three girls all are 10 years apart. Phil's quiet, unassuming way belied a fierce loyalty to her husband and children. She was a woman steeped in pride of culture and heritage as a Jamaican woman. Or, as she or I would say in Jamaican Labrish, a Jamaican woman. Yaman. Her name Philippa was such a beautiful name, but she was not crazy about it because she preferred regular names like those of other school children. So she called herself Phil. She was dutiful, and I respected her attention to the family's needs. For me, it was not easy to share with her. In my relationship with Phil, we were not as tight, but as the years tallied, we became closer. It's always redemptive to get to that point in life. So don't wait to tell someone how much you care about them. She wasn't catty or chatty. Wasn't one to gossip or hang out with the girls at Fridays for happy hour. That was a foreign notion. It was ironic to me how she combined that personality with such a strong yet successful management style to lead a core of more than 10 nephrology centers in the northern Alabama region for an international company. Go figure. But she commanded, not demanded, respect. Education. Education was a big deal, and that's an understatement in the family, and that she, I can attest, demanded excellence. I recall in a visit to their home in Huntsville years ago, I saw the grandkids' playroom upstairs, and I remarked how wonderful it was to see all the family's diplomas proudly displayed on the wall. But a curious thing, I noticed the diplomas hung a bit lower than the normal eye level for any wall hanging, and I asked Phil why. She looked at me quizzically and remarked, "It's because I want the grandchildren to see that obtaining an education is a normal expectation, as normal as playing, laughing, just having fun." And I recalled another visit around the holidays years ago when my nieces and nephew were young and we all had returned home from church services on a Sunday afternoon. And soon the house got noticeably quiet. Why? It turns out each family member was reading a section of the Sunday paper. Each took a section, the current news, the sports, local news, the arts, and I hope she won't be too embarrassed, and baby Heather, with a pacifier in her mouth, took the comic section and was fingering out the stories. Now, with parents demonstrating the importance and power of reading, children watch and follow. Her Catholic faith? Phil didn't broadcast it, but it was important in her life's journey. Phil loved gathering up the family on a Sunday to go to church. The head of the Abyssinian Baptist Church, Calvin Butts III, gave a stirring speech as the commencement speaker at last month's graduation ceremony at a major Catholic university in New York. One of the things he said was, education and faith are the Tigris and Euphrates of our redemption. Without a trained mind and inspired heart, you will go nowhere. Education ought to improve your character, increase your knowledge, and help you to earn a living. And having character teaches us to have love for beauty, to endure to the end, and courtesy for one another. I think Phil believed and practiced and instilled that wholeheartedly. To endure to the end with character and faith. As I learned from Colette about Phil's dying hours, I thought about Phil's character and faith that sustained her. Her intelligence. It wasn't until as I was an adult that I learned why she couldn't enter nursing school immediately following graduation from Alpha Academy, a well-known and prestigious high school in Kingston, Jamaica. Well, I will always know it as Alpha Academy because I attended its Alpha Primary School. Phil had skipped a grade and graduated at 16 and was not allowed to enter nursing school until age 17 or 18. So in that 1 year, I guess nowadays we'd call it her gap year, she found a job at a Kingston post office. And I wonder why she chose that. Maybe because our maternal aunt who raised her, Aunt Eglantine or Aunt Eglin Campbell, was the first postmistress of one of Jamaica's 14 parishes. However, landing a job at the Kingston post office was fortuitous because that's where she met her future husband, Lloyd. And as everyone knows, a great storyteller and raconteur. The relationship with Phil and Lloyd, theirs was a romantic tale. Their 3 kids can attest to that. Lloyd was romantic and loving, and Phil loved him. But her personality made her shy away from his many PDAs or public displays of affection. When he retired about 10 years earlier than Phil, and truth be told, she didn't want to retire, he'd say to me in his deep voice on the phone, "Dyann," and I don't think I can mimic his voice, but he'd say, "Dyann, Phil wants me to go and hang out with the guys just to be out of the house. So I'd go out for 1 hour, and I keep looking at the clock when I'm hanging out with the guys, and in 1 hour I tell the guys I'm going home to my wife. When I returned, she'd say, 'Back already?'" Phil reminisced with me over the phone after Lloyd passed away. And she was living at an assisted living facility and she'd say every time there was a themed music night with, say, music from the 50s and 60s or calypso music themes, she remembered how much Lloyd wanted her to dance with him, and she often declined. And now she said, I wish I had danced with him because he enjoyed it so. So, as Mark Twain advised, dance as if no one's watching. Love like you've never been hurt. Sing like nobody's listening. And live like it's heaven on earth. And to her children, Phil now joins your father again in love and peace. They are in God's warm embrace. It was a great match for them and an auspicious birth for the three of you, Colette, Dale, and Heather. To whom much is given, much is expected. She loved you. She rejoices in who you are and the light you will continue to be in this world. You are and continue to be a gift to her. Now you must be a gift to the next generation of the family in deed and words. And don't be surprised of her intercession in your future actions for you and around you constantly. She intercedes for you with our Lord. Phil and your father showed you in words and deeds to be confident and to have a strong moral compass. You are not better than anyone, but nobody is better than you. The famous educator and theologian and civil rights leader Howard Thurman once said, "There is something in every one of you that waits and listens for the sound of the genuine in yourself. It is the only true guide you will ever have, and if you cannot hear it, you will all of your life spend your days on the ends of strings that somebody else pulls." Phil was a great role model. She gave you the foundational tools she herself had very few of to make it in this world. She gave you, and boy, have you shown it back manyfold to her, especially these last waning years. I thank you, and God bless you all for that. And when storms come into those still and quiet moments of your lives in the future, please know you're not alone to weather them. Our length of grief is different for each person, so take your time to grieve. But please don't forget the days, months, and years before this. I grieve by talking about someone every time I see a beautiful, funny, sad, or crazy time that reminds me of a time with that person. And to her friends and colleagues, I say this life's journey is relatively short, and I'm glad you got to know my sister Philippa. I love that name. It's so beautiful. I hope she was one of those people who had a positive effect in your life or on your life. The poet and author Maya Angelou said, "People may not remember what you said, but they will always remember how you made them feel." I pray you will remember her well and say a prayer for her, her family, and for yourself once in a while. Thank you all for your love of Phil and for showing your support at this time. I ask you to continue to hold up in prayer Phil, her children and grandchildren, and yourselves. Blessings, Dyann.